Rachel, our Astra.
What have you brought me?
Yeah, well, I know this is the worst bit. I knew it was the job for you.
Have you seen this? We're just going to remove any road contaminants like tar or grease or anything like that, and then you would start your prepping process. And that's just so that whenever you're prepping and you're sanding stuff, you're not sanding the contaminants into the panel. Otherwise, you're never going to get rid of it. Rust in general is always really unpredictable. Whenever you see rust on the surface of something, it's usually because it's rusted from the back out. So that's what you always have to take into consideration whenever you look at any sort of rust on a car. It's not advisable to touch up jobs yourself with spray paint. My advice would be touch it up with a brush so that it tries to stop it from getting any worse. But if it's got to the point that Astra was in, you really need to be giving it to somebody, because all you're going to do is make it 10 times worse if you try to do it yourself. Basically what we're doing now is we've blocked it down with 320 grit, and it's slightly too coarse for you to spray paint over, especially a silver metallic. So we're applying another coat of guide coat, and then we're going to sand it with the DA sander with 500 grit. And again, I'm just waiting to see that there's no black left and that all the scratches are removed. We're actually really lucky in the fact that somebody had sprayed a paint over the top, and that was the unstable part, so we didn't actually have to strip the whole part back to bare metal, which was brilliant. All we had to do was then take the rust down to bare metal and then feather out the paint and remove the unstable paint.
Oh, great job, Rach. What do you think,
good,
Tori?
Looks fun, doesn't it?
That's awesome. Nice job.
Got the rest to do now.
Yeah, we have to give it a clean. But first of all, we need to get it repaired, get it through the MOT. So when we had the car MOT, it only failed on the one spring, but the advisories were the brakes. It's going to cost a hell of a lot more to replace all the brakes. A spring alone is quite expensive, and we're going to do 2 because that's good practice. Right, Tori, I'll start on here. And you want to take the rest of the wheels off for me?
Yeah.
Wicked. So we'll turn the wheel. So now I can see. So first thing to do, take the caliper bolts out. There's 2 of those, little 10 mils. So what we're going to do is the piston we need to push back to release the caliper. We're replacing the distant pad, so I'm just going to use a screwdriver just to lever it out. Flip the brake pads out. So the pads actually don't look too bad. There's quite a lot of meat left on them. The wear indicator isn't down. That's what squeals, you know, when you brake sometimes and you get that squealy noise. So you can see the pads are scored. You see the score line in there? That's from the disc. See how it gives a curve? But because the discs are so bad, that's why we're going to replace them. Okay, so imagine the pads will sit like that, either side of the disc. And when the caliper's on, the piston will push against here. And when you put your foot on the brake, the fluid will travel down, push the piston out, push the pads onto the disc, which then stops you. And then when you take your foot off the brake pedal, the fluid goes back up and it opens the pads up to allow you to drive. So now we're going to take this carrier off. We've got 2 18mm bolts. Right, so make sure you're keeping hold of your carrier and your disc when you take your last bolt out. And that pops off. So sometimes you have to give the brake disc a tap with a hammer to get them off, but luckily this one's going to pop off. But you can see how badly worn this one is. Quite a large lip on the back. Obviously it's badly corroded as well from where it's been stood and sat and not used for so long. So it's a good job of replacing them. The front discs are vented, they've got all these little vents in, and the back disc is solid, there's no vents in that. With the front calipers, you literally just push the piston back. With the back calipers, you have to wind them back. There are 2 locating holes on the piston. So what you need is one of these. This is a brake wind back tool. It's quite a simple tool. Comes with 2 nodules there. So what you do is, this goes in here like this. You tighten it up. As you tighten this up, it tightens that plate to the caliper. Do it all hand tight. And what you have to do is you wind this in. It's really hard to do. So you can either put a socket on the end of this, or another quite helpful tip is, if you get a ring spanner, hook it on. It's all about leverage. And that'll spin round. Before you push the pistons back on the brake calipers, make sure you take the brake fluid cap off, just to relieve any pressure. This story is super important to me. I love to help people, that's my main thing. And when Marie reached out and told me the situation and the story and who it was for, I wanted to help, and all the other angels, we just wanted to help and chip in and just make sure that everything was okay for him.